content is not sexy enough. Nobody reads. Why do we need so much words? It is not considered good practice. Secondly, I think it lacks a human touch. But I'll come down on how to use AI for content. Organic content can bring you leads. It is a long-term game, but it will work out. And once it works out, it's like a waterfall. You will get a lot of leads. I found a little bit of an arrogance with customers telling my brain, put in the right queries. I think as time goes on, content writers will to evolve into
Hello everyone, good afternoon once again. I'm back with another episode of Pods. So I hope you have already the second episode of Pods is already live today, and I had a very deep connection with that particular topic. It was on Rishi Aurobindo and on his book Essays on Gita, and my friend Animesh Mukherjee. We had a wonderful discussion, and link is out right now. So please go and watch it. And today's aspect and today's topic is very different. It is on technology, and it is how technology is reshaping our career, reshaping our life, and the way we see it. And when we talk about career, we are talking about a particular career option that is called content writing or content marketing, as you say. Every IT companies, tech companies, if it is a B2B company, know the value of content marketing, content writers. These days, one of the fundamental pillars, fundamental most important thing of a marketing team. In any marketing team, content writer is a must, and experienced content writers are always looked for. But with the evolution and with the technologies coming into place, new technologies coming, especially with AI and Gen AI, it is evolving. There are a lot of things happening. Like people say, it's a trend that is going. Obviously, it is a disruption. People are getting disrupted with that, and also some people are little anxious, what will happen to their jobs and all that. So I mean, that is definitely going to happen. So today I have a guest who has been in this industry, especially is working for the tech companies 15 years now, and she has been a content writer, some of the very good global companies in the past. Now she's working as a consultant, she worked content marketeer and also a content consultant strategist with lot of companies. Rama Kannan. Rama, welcome to my Pods. Thank you for accepting my invite. We will go and let's see, we will talk about all these things that you want to discuss. So please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Anirban. When you called me, I was super excited because, I like to talk about content. I like talking per se as such. I think that is common with all content people.
Right.
I've been in this business for about 15 years. So right now I'm working on my own as a consultant. I work with small, big companies. I edit for them. I do the content strategy. I even do content writing. For a few of the companies, I'm working on refurbishing their website. So I also do those emails that go out, nurture flows and all that. So from A to Z, I do everything right now. As far as technology is concerned, you mentioned that people are afraid of losing their jobs. This happened to me also. A lot of people said that, we will use AI content. AI content is banned by Google. It is not considered good practice. Secondly, I think it lacks a human touch. But I'll come down on how to use AI for content. Yeah, we can go ahead with your questions.
Thanks for the intro, Rama. So let's start with your general, the content marketing that you do. How do you on a daily basis, how you approach that? So my first question would be how have customer expectations for content changed? You have been in the industry for 14, 15 years now. Along these years, how it has changed in the field, and obviously it's an evolving strategies and all that. So how do you change all your strategies as per your, the client, the person you are working with?
So when I initially started with content, it was considered a step above typing. Basically, I'll be very honest with you. People didn't know what it was. There were a lot of black hat SEO practices where people used to copy, white background with white font. So it's not visible, but it's visible bot and all that. So all that happened. Now I feel that clients have started respecting content to a certain extent. But even now, they believe that content marketing will not bring you leads directly. It can help you bring leads, but it will not bring you leads directly. But my firm belief is that organic content can bring you leads. It is a long-term game, but it will work out. And once it works out, it's like a waterfall. You will get a lot of leads, a lot of exposure to the right people and all that. But that is something that people have to start understanding. With AI coming, I found a little bit of an arrogance with customers telling me that, why do I need you? I just put a query in the AI machine and it gives me the content. But that soon washed off, because if you look at the content, you'll understand the difference between a human writer and a AI writer.
Exactly. Because I have also been part of this industry for a long time now. When I was a content writer, I started with all that. So I have changed through technology coming into place and all that. And I have seen one particular thing that has happened with me like in the past, and it's still happening. Like I have seen other my juniors and all that, though it is one of the fundamental part of a marketing team, but always a content writer, oh it's a, oh you are in content, okay, like everybody has opinion about it, everybody is a literature or a language expert in that, so everybody has will come forward and put their thoughts into that, and like, oh no, this is something you have to change and all that. So how do you like see that, and how do you like address that in on a daily basis, I mean, while working?
So, yeah, I've heard this, and I've heard, like, content is not sexy enough. Nobody reads.
Hmm.
Why do we need so much words? Why don't we promise them the heaven and, deliver less than earth? This has happened to me a lot. And everybody says everybody can write. I too write. I don't have the time for it.
Hmm.
So I agree. Everybody can write. That's true. What makes content different is, I think, to a large extent, empathy. Like, you put yourself in the
Hmm.
customer's shoe, and when you
Exactly.
write something, you ask yourself 10 times, so what? If I say that this microphone works very well, okay, then I should ask as a customer, so what? Why should I buy it? Or why
Hmm.
should I even listen to you telling me about it? That is one thing. Second thing is, it is true that nobody reads. Nowadays, nobody reads, but they browse.
Hmm.
So, as a content writer, you have to evolve. You have to make your content more browsable.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the key points that they want to listen to, what you understand from the studying their persona, you make it more consumable. Say,
Hmm.
maybe give them an infographic, give them a table, use better header tags. It makes a big difference. So I am very technologically backward, and I had to learn on the job. But I
Right.
think that is one of the things,
We all
that the
did that
learnings that
actually.
I have is that, as a content, don't become a snob.
Absolutely.
Listen to what technology has to offer. Listen to what people who are in graphics have to offer. Combine it. It's a synergy. It's not just the written word, but it's how you present it,
Exactly.
understanding who you are presenting it to. So, like, say, if I go and tell the CFO just these many gigabytes and all that, he's not going to understand. He's going to just
Hmm.
yawn and say, tell me about ROI,
Yeah.
return on investment. So you have to understand your audience very keenly. So
Hmm.
I would say a content person should be part of the core marketing team from the beginning when you're deciding on the customer persona. And
Right.
what helps is reading a lot about the competitors.
Right. Because like I have been part of this, like as I said, what I have also faced many times, like something has already been decided, part of the marketing strategy, or like some top leadership has decided on something, and then suddenly at one point a content person is being called. He's like, okay, now you have this, you change it and like do some wonders around that. So, but what I feel is like he or she should be part of this particular planning right from the very beginning. Like, do you agree with that? Because then he or she can
Absolutely.
share that inputs, and also it will help to understand, to craft that story. What do you think?
Correct. So, we worked together for to increase.
Yeah.
So this happened before you joined. They were really struggling with the value proposition. And I think within a couple of hours, we had the value proposition down. And then
Hmm.
that's when they realized the importance of content.
Hmm.
And they started involving us from every stage, whether it
Hmm.
is the website, whether it's the nurture flow, whether it is the CMS, understanding what the customers are asking, whether it is social media. And believe me, we
Hmm.
launched the ebook and we got some 5 sales out of it.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that is something that then they realize the value of content and then they
Right.
started doing it. But sometimes content people are mostly dreamers, talkers.
Hmm.
I think you have to become go-getters also.
Hmm. Agree, absolutely, yeah. Because content writers, as you said very rightly, they are dreamers kind of thing. They have their own very corner. They're very comfortable with that, and they don't want to go into like the door, open it, and they say, "No, I am also part of this and all that." I have faced it, like, and I agree with that 100%. But not all professionals, because I have also come across people like who are know like how to do that. So now coming to the consulting part, you have been doing consulting with lot of small companies, startups and all that. So especially like with startups, they often operate with very limited resources, right? And very high expectations. Obviously, I mean, they have to, like, as you say, like, you have to show ROI very fast and all that. But how do you balance like creativity and pragmatism when developing a content strategy, particularly for startups?
So, with startups, what happens is there are two types. The
Hmm.
one who has a lot of funding and wants to spend. 10 useless people in the line who are just looking at content, rejecting it, and making comments. And there is another which is very short for capital, and they're like making one person do the work of 4 people. So,
Right.
for these people, what I would suggest is, as a content strategy or general strategy also, use the leader, the CEO, owner, whoever it is, as the face of the company, and start with
Okay.
social media, because you will immediately see a lot of engagement there. Do a
Very
few
good
paid
point.
campaigns there. One of
Hmm.
the strategies is mix organic with paid, get
Hmm.
an expert to do it, and do some targeted campaign, MQLs and SQLs in. Once you get that, then you have the confidence. Then you can tell them that, no, this is what is lacking in your website. This is what is lacking in your content and all that. So content can give you that strategy as to what to write to that person to get their immediate attention. Say, for instance, I'll tell you one of the things. This is nothing to do with content. When I was in hardcore marketing, so when I was selling windmills, okay, of all the things, wind turbines, I told one CEO, I'll tell you how to save on tax and your power bills by 70%. And that's all I said. I had his attention. That is what was worrying him a lot. It's a very cement plant, okay? So they had huge power bills and they were also paying a lot of tax, immediate interest. So you have to get to the crux of the matter with startups and hit them with it. And once you're in, you're proven yourself a little bit with the results. I think they will start trusting you. So I've had a lot of failures also, Anirban. I'll be very honest. Some of them just don't want to listen to you. They're like, do what I say. And when that doesn't bring results, they're like, you're not good at it. So cut your losses and move on. That's also okay. That also happens. It's not always a success. So with content, you have, for any profession for that matter, you always have to take the good with the bad. And that's okay.
Right. So, like, obviously, on a daily, while you're working with, there will be different stakeholders, like, and it's very difficult to satisfy all of them. How do you go, like, if you see a leadership team, these are the leadership people, the stakeholders, like, how do you see that, okay, this is the person, like, I have to satisfy in terms of, like, whatever I'm doing, I can convince him very confidently and I can build the trust. So, how do you, like, any approach, any strategies there?
So you have to become a little bit of a chameleon. Like with some people, I'm very humble. I'll tell you a recent client I have. They are into inward remittance for exporters. Okay. So the management is very, very controlling. So with them, I'm sir, madam, I'm a big hypocrite. I'm okay with it. I have another customer who's just, starting, he's a digital marketing agency, but he has a habit of going for hours and hours about marketing. So with him, I am, very shrewd, very sharp, and very, very strict and crisp. And so what happens is you have to adapt yourself when you become a businesswoman on your own. There's no other way about it because your food depends on it. But I think even as a content person, with the graphic person, you have to be a different person. A SEO person, you always have to be aggressive. Let me tell you, with a marketer, you have to become a friend, the digital marketer who's heading it. So the roles always change. So use that power that you have within you to change according to the stakeholder. So with different companies, I'm doing different stuff. Like recently, I wrote article on how to improve masculinity with yoga. Okay. So I had to be very little tongue in cheek, but be very, very politically correct. And then they read it. Okay, it's okay. Not everybody will get it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So as I said, like, I mean, we will talk about the technology, especially the Gen AI and all AI, ChatGPT coming into the place right now. Young professionals I always meet in different events or the company that I'm working, they're very scared, they're anxious, and they want to know how it will shape in the future, right? Everybody it's a disruption that has happened. Like everybody scratching their head, even the top leadership and even IT people, like, I mean, they're all don't know what exactly going to happen right now. So how do you think like this is going to shape this particular area?
Right. So when ChatGPT launched, I fed something into it and got an article and I was like, oh my God, I'm losing my job. My first reaction was that. But then when I started reading it, I realized that there is a sameness to it. Say if I'm talking about a listicle, I'm talking about comparing 10 different products. I think it doesn't consider the human factor. Like I'll tell you a simple example. If I'm writing 3 bullet points and I say it simplifies data analysis, it simplifies coming up with numbers, immediately your brain will think that I've read this before. The first word said simplifies. So it doesn't take into consideration factors like that. Okay. And I'll also tell you, Anirban, there are 10 good writing tools. ChatGPT is the tip of the iceberg. So I tried all 10 tools. There is Phrase, there's Squirrely, I forgot Writer. So these are all pretty good. And I'm sure I tried only the free versions of it. And I wrote a review on it for somebody. So they're very, very good. But even then, they lack the human element. So the way I see it right now is use AI for research. I do it. And then I check the facts, first thing. Second thing is I'm also training my brain to put in the right queries. I think as time goes on, content writers will to evolve into giving prompts to AI and doing the editing and correcting the content.
Excellent
But
point.
total content, but yeah, I don't see it happening in the next 5 years at least. We didn't know this could happen 5 years back. So the way I see it is that you train your brain to ask the right questions because it's garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
If you give good instructions, you get good content.
Exactly.
And that too needs to be edited and reviewed and rewritten and all that. Huge parts of it. And to make it Google acceptable, then that's another factor also that you have to consider. Search engines are becoming smarter. Since technology is becoming smarter on all levels, even search engines are smart.
Right, right. Yeah, and what I have seen myself at certain point of time, I feel very tempted because it saves lot of our time, the productivity and all that, and we feel very tempted to like, okay, if it does my job, whatever I was spending, say 30 minutes, if it does in 10 minutes, I can do something more. It's very tempting, I mean, to do that. But whatever you say, the way you put your human intelligence top of it, and then you use it like to give those right prompts, is really the way, because many people don't understand that, especially young writers and all that who are coming into this. I mean, they always, as I said, like they always feel very tempted because obviously we all have pressure to deliver, I mean, on time, and also to do a lot of other work. All have to multitask these days, not just one
Course.
particular task. And then if saves time, and if people feel tempted to know, okay, like I can do 10 writing jobs in one go, then why shouldn't I do that? But to know the nuances, like how to use it properly, and how to, even I don't know whether if you should right to say, to make AI or Gen AI, ChatGPT, whatever, your slave, right? To give him like a genie, basically, you do this and that, and you should do that in that manner. Not only like, I mean, you
Correct.
should say that you do that, like you pick up that pot and place it there. You should also tell her, okay, how to do that. Then only you will get the right result. Otherwise, again, you are going to be in
True,
a
true, true.
right, right,
A big
exactly.
mess, so that's what. The more and more I'm realizing, I also have to do a lot of cross-checking of facts. So right
Hmm.
now, factually also, I use ChatGPT extensively. The
Hmm.
other 10 tools that I mentioned, phrase and all those, I
Hmm.
did only a trial just for an article because I
Hmm.
wanted to be very genuine and find out. And because it was content writing close to my heart and it was a free project that I was working with somebody on a
Hmm.
profit sharing basis, I did it. But what I realized is initially it sounds very good, but for all tools, it follows the same pattern. There
Hmm.
is no distinction between one tool and another. So if
Yeah.
I'm reading the whole listicle, I feel I have read this before. Oh, did
Hmm.
it not say this before?
Hmm.
That kind of thing is always there.
Yeah.
And I would also say that, when you're writing examples, you're
Hmm.
writing stories. You
Hmm.
write, say, for instance, a medical transcriptionist company is writing about how a medical record helped a doctor.
Hmm.
That sort of example, I don't see it coming from AI now.
Hmm.
But and to be honest, I'm not used to paid tool. Maybe it is much better than what I've seen.
Hmm.
Even then, I don't see it doing a good job unless you give the right prompt.
Exactly.
You
Right.
have to give it the right input for
Hmm.
it to give the right output. And
Right.
once it is done, you have to format it better, you have to present it better. And I think I see content writers becoming more of web experts, how to present the content better, how to edit the content better. So
Hmm.
that is something that you can start preparing yourself right now.
Yeah. Any basic skill required, do you think, like for young content writers who are coming right now or want to be an content writer in the future? Like any basic skills that apart from like what, see, anyways, he or she has to be a good storyteller, grammar, language, and all that. He has to be like top notch and all that. But apart from that, any basic skill that they have to learn or understand, adopt?
Yeah, so one of the things that they have to be is curious.
Right.
According to me, you have to be curious. You
Absolutely.
have to know
Hmm.
why ERP.
Hmm.
I work for an ERP company.
Hmm.
So why ERP? What is ERP? Why do we need ERP? So you have to have
Hmm.
a curiosity. So according to me, soft skills is good reader, curiosity,
Hmm.
constant thinker, and of course be very very particular about the language, because
Yeah.
nowadays people are more conscious about what is politically correct and all that, and rightly so. So you have to make it sure that everything you write is not offensive to anybody. Like,
Right.
I'll tell you a recent example. I had an example of how do you manage without productivity tool. So
Hmm.
they compared it to earlier, they used the best productivity tool was a whip,
Okay.
and that was alluding to slavery, and the editors had let it go. But I picked up a big ruckus and I said this is not acceptable, because we cannot talk about politically incorrect things
Correct.
and say that it was the best tool and now we don't have it, so we have to use a productivity tool. That's not how it works. So you have to be aware. So any content writer, I would say, spend 50-60% of your time
Hmm.
writing,
Hmm.
20% of your time being curious, 30% of the time only you write
Ah.
and rewrite, edit, review, ask somebody to be very critical of you, but not somebody who says this doesn't work and without any
Ah.
other follow up. They have to give a follow up saying that this doesn't work because it's not making sense to me in this situation. I think you have written half the stuff, but
Hmm.
don't go for feedback who says, "Arey, maza nahi aaya."
Hmm.
So this is not
Actually, that
entertaining.
is a very common feedback. As I said in the beginning, like everybody is a content expert. They know everything about it, and they will say that just the right word, like "maza nahi aaya." Now, if you ask them, like, "maza kyun nahi aaya?" They don't know, like, I mean, "kyun maza nahi aaya?" But they will just give a very passing comment and all that. So yeah, right.
So I remember a very amusing incident. One of my ex bosses, very friendly guy. So he said, "Rama, maza nahi aaya." So I
Hmm.
told him, "Sir, ye mujra nahi hai, maza to nahi aayega." So he was like, "No, no, it's not giving the." So I'm like, "What is wrong with it?" Like as a third person, you tell me, because sometimes I am too much. What happens with mostly SMEs is they are very particular about the technical aspects. As content marketers, we are very particular about the reader. Right. There is a connect between these, and that is the marketer, and that person has to tell us what is missing.
Right. Right. Now, as you are working with as a consultant for a lot of companies, startups and all that, definitely, as I said, a lot of freelancers are there, right? Apart from companies and startups and all that, they also are dependent on a lot of freelancers. So, as a consultant, like when you give them some ideas and all that, the strategies mainly. Do you see with this any change in like price negotiations happening, especially with AI? As you said, you mentioned somewhere you have to coach them, you have to teach them, and everybody thinks that Gen AI is just a cakewalk and ChatGPT, all that, just taking the help, it makes work so easy. So does it actually help or has impacted your getting clients or price that you used to quote earlier and the price now you are charging for whatever you want to do? Like, how do you see this market right now?
So what happens with me is a lot of times the smaller companies tell me, why should I pay you so much when I can ask AI to do the work for me? So in these cases, I'm very clear. I said I'll do a paid pilot. I'm very clear because I feel that my time is valuable. If I don't value it, other person will not value it.
Right.
So I tell them it will cost you 5,000 max to do a paid pilot with me, and you can afford that. And I give them an AI produced article, an article that I've written about their company. When I do some research, I take the time to research their competition and all that. Even then, there is some price negotiation, so I build that in. I have started becoming a little bit of a shrewd businesswoman. In the sense, I build in a negotiable price in the whatever I do, and then I ask them. But surprisingly, when you show them the value of what you've done, this versus that, they immediately realize, and they try it themselves also. So I tell them this is the prompt I used, and this is what I used, and this is the tool I used. And then they come to the realization there is some bargaining, of course, and I have lost some work because of that. But I feel that is a work well lost, because if the person is going to think so much about paying me money, such a small thing, also, I think they're not prepared for the long haul. They're not prepared for content marketing. They might as well go for paid campaigns, pay a lot of money, burn their hands, and come back to me.
Right.
That has also happened. Get your website right first. Get your social media platforms clean, get a correct strategy in place, then you move on to paid campaigns, you'll have a better result. So I've had a couple of people coming back to me saying that, yeah, I think we agree with you, but can we give you a better price, or can you work 4 hours a day, like say 20 hours a week for us, and we'll pay you a fixed amount instead of per. So I'm open to that. What I've done is I have a weekly payment kind of plan, I have a per word kind of plan, per content asset kind of plan, per hour kind of plan, because different corporates have different.
Yeah,
I've
obviously.
also had a couple of corporate clients, so they are per hour. So I'm okay with that.
Nice, nice. Yeah, obviously, like you have to give some packages to them. Otherwise, it's very difficult to
Yeah,
stick to
so
one package. Yeah.
but it's easy enough to prove AI versus a real content writer once you do a small pilot.
Yeah, this is actually a very good point because many people nowadays think that whatever AI can do, they just can't balance it. It's very difficult to do that because everybody's talking about it. We are also into that, and it's a very trending thing right now. And if somebody can go and say, "Sir, I can do this in Chat GPT and all that," okay, no, 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 that's it. Okay, fine. But what you can do as a human, it is much more important. I mean, that is valued actually. So almost we are coming to the last part of it. Like, do you use any marketing tool like automation tool like HubSpot and all that for your marketing? Because see, marketing strategies and all that, these are all very data oriented these days, right? Once you can show some data that is relevant and that is very interesting, people get excited about it. So do you take help from any things like that? Because the dashboard and all that give you a lot of ideas.
Right. So I do use Google Analytics to a certain extent, but these tools are very expensive on one for me to subscribe on my own. So when I'm working with a team, for instance, the export guys I'm talking about, they have a tool. So I use that itself. I get permission to use that. I work with a company called ClickUp, where they have their own stats which are published, and I used to edit for them. With the consultancy that I'm doing right now, he has Salesforce. So I get access from them, but as such, I cannot do it myself because it's too expensive right now. But in the future, I want to, if I go for any tool, I think it will be HubSpot, because I'm very comfortable with it, whether it is publishing, whether it is nurture flow or anything.
Even
So
I have
I found
used
it
that.
very,
Like we have been using, and it's a dashboard and all that gives you a very good amount of information that okay, particularly what kind of content is working for you, and especially very micro level detailing like the heading and the body content or whatever. Even emails also, like whichever has worked, open rate and all that. So that gives you a very nice idea about how to change and refine your content game
correct.
space. Correct.
So I like that. And also, there are a lot of AI tools also for analytics.
Mm.
So I've checked them, but I was not able to check them in as depth as SEO and content tools.
Right.
So
And nothing is
sometimes I
free.
use
Like,
them
I mean,
also.
the free version doesn't give you much scope to explore. I mean, like once you
Yeah.
go for that premium version, then only you can see some light of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, correct.
So the tools I use for content are Grammarly, of course. I have a Grammarly subscription, paid
Grammarly helps a
subscription. I
lot,
bought
yeah.
it.
Grammarly, because I have also seen Grammarly not always it's very accurate and all that. Sometimes
No,
it
you need
gives
the
very
brain.
like nonsensical
Weird suggestions.
suggestions, weird. But sometimes it gives a very good hint. You can adjust it. I mean, if you know that is
Right.
where actually your human intelligence come into place.
Correct.
Otherwise, you will just work as a robot. You will accept that.
Right. So I use Quillbot, Hemingway app. Then there is something called Capitalize Your Title. I use that. For any reference with spellings or grammar, Merriam-Webster. And in the past, I've built some guidelines for content guidelines.
Right.
So I keep that as a basis. I keep referring back to it because it has some rules about bulleting. A lot of younger people that I've realized when I work with them, I worked with somebody who's writing for a dentist website, and she came to me. I've been mentoring her, so I don't actually work with her. When you're talking about younger people, it's hip to use words which are not politically correct or actually correct. So I told her, you can still be friendly, but not use poor language. So
Yeah.
you keep your language immaculate, but still stay very friendly in your approach to whatever you're
Some
doing.
essentials should be there.
Yeah. So, and of course, she is writing for B2C, and B2C gives you a lot of. So, in content writers also, I wanted to make this point before. If you're talking about B2B content, that's a totally different game. It pays well. But it's kind of a little boring if you're not totally into exploring technical products and all that. B2C is fun. You have a lot of leeway to wordplay and all that, but it doesn't pay well. So you have to make your choice. Maybe you can do a lot of volume of B2C content or less volume of B2B content and earn more.
Right. Right. So have you ever worked on like any research and all that? Because I know like there will be a lot of work that comes as a part of you do research and then edit and all that, like reports and all that. Do you do such things?
So white papers, does it count? White papers and ebooks? Yeah, I do a lot of research. I try to get free versions of, analyst reports and all that if it's possible. For that, again, so ChatGPT is a little useful for that. I have found that. So right now for my research, I use ChatGPT as a first source. Then I do my own research and then collate and do it. And sometimes I also talk to the SME itself. So like I work with a corporate company. They have a lot of subject matter experts. I book a half-an-hour call, record it, and get information from them.
Yeah, it's always
So it is very important, that you interact with people. You tell them that I don't know this. So a lot of people think that just because you're a content writer, you know about everything about every subject. Not true. You're very good at research. You're good at asking questions. You're good at diving deeper. That's all.
Right.
Or you become good at it if you want to become a good content person.
Nice. So, Rama, we have almost reached the last part of it. I have two more questions for you. One is for young generation, aspiring content writers, what will be your advice?
Don't get into content unless you're passionate about it. First thing. Second thing is look at marketing as a whole. When you do content writing, you cannot do it in isolation because content has to work with somebody, something, some other parts as well. Second thing is become very passionate about reading. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't consider technology your enemy. In fact, it's your best friend.
Right.
Use AI. Use all the tools that you can get. And I think you have to find a niche for yourself. You cannot just be a generalist, even in content. Say you're good at producing videos. That's a good skill. You're good at writing advertising copy. Again, a good skill. Social media. So a younger generation, I would say, concentrate on more on shorter content, which is easy to consume because that is right down your forte. You've been bred on that. From birth, you have been using that kind of language. And so I would suggest find your strength. Like, see, I'll tell you, I'm a good content writer. Editing for me is a little iffy because I don't like to critique somebody else's work because I think it's a lot of hard work. So they've done a lot of hard work and I'm just pulling it apart. So you have to find out your niche. You cannot be good at everything. That is your focus. It's a good, and I'm telling you, it pays well.
Yeah.
Now it is paying well. You respect your work, others will.
Right. And if somebody wants to come as a freelancer, like, is this the right time or as you said, no, or something like that?
No, it is the right time. So right now, I think we're going through a phase where the companies are going through a gig economy, what is called. Like they don't want to appoint a person full time. They want to give gigs to people. They want to try Rama for 3 months, Anirban for 3 months, XYZ for 3 months, that kind of thing. So if you're good at your work and you're confident, but see, to become a freelancer, first thing is you'd make sure that you have at least 1 year's worth of money to live on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be very honest. 1 month I made 3 lakhs. Next month I didn't even make 20,000. So I have to be prepared for that kind of up and down. I was rejecting work a couple of months back. Now I'm looking for work. So that also happens. So you have to be prepared for that. Be mentally strong. Have some financial background to support you, to take care of your basics. And then you can do it. But right now, companies are concentrating on lesser of full-time people and more of gig workers. So it is your time
Right, right. But
to
you
go
have to be like
freelancing.
little, balanced, judgmental, what exactly works for you that way.
Yes. And the business aspect of it, be very, very clear. Like I am very pakka on billing. So if the customer says fifth ko billing, I do it on fifth. Don't delay it by even one day, otherwise you lose payment for the whole month. Like one of my gigs is 20th. On 19th, I'm ready with my invoice.
Yeah.
Another gig, 10th. So by 9th, I have my invoice ready. And I keep very good records of what you've done. And this goes against the creative lala type, that content type people are supposed to be. But if you want to eat, you have to do it. You have to
So
be
if
pakka on
you
invoicing
want
and
to
all that.
see yourself as a like a business focused and all that, then you have to be like that. Otherwise, it's not going to be that easy. Like
No.
it's not
So yeah.
because working with a corporate company, like the end of the month, you will get a salary. So if you are just satisfied with that work, that is fine. But if you are a freelancer consulting or something like that, you have to manage everything of your own. So that is
Yeah,
different.
so in one of my gigs where we had another 4, 5 editors working with me, I was known for calling them on every 19th and telling all the girls, please have your invoice ready. And they started appreciating, and then they started doing it themselves also. Because they keep 1 month and they didn't get paid for almost 60 days. And it's not a good thing to happen.
Right.
And
Right.
especially if your contract is ending, then it's very difficult for the company also to pay you.
Right.
So be very clear on that. Like, money is important. You're working for satisfaction and money. Have both in focus. As you said, salary is easy. You work, you get your salary.
Good. And also AI coming into place, we don't know like how tomorrow will look. We don't know like it is going to change every day. But still, what is your prediction about content marketing like in the next 5 years? How it
Okay.
is going to?
Yeah. So next 2, 3 years, I think I see AI evolving a lot, much better. But I still don't see it taking over content marketers fully. Though content writers should become good at strategy, putting together queries, good at editing, contextual writing, which is very important because you can say something in a context which can be taken totally wrong or right. So depending on that, do not fear. I think embrace. Make it your best friend.
Excellent. Yeah.
There is
That's
nothing.
how you can win it. Otherwise it always be fear. That suddenly you will like move into one corner. You will feel demotivated. That's right.
No, it's not because when AI came in, the first reaction for me was also insecurity. If a machine can write this well, but then I looked at it in depth and I realized that there's a lot of scope for improvement. It will keep on improving. It will evolve. In 5 years, you will see that content writers have become more of prompt givers and editors. But I think still they'll have a story to tell and
Right.
image to create and all that.
Yeah.
So keep refining your skills. The
Will
technology is there.
definitely increase. Because that is the main thing of bringing AI into the picture to how to increase productivity and efficiency. Basically, that is going to definitely improve.
So you make it your best friend, now. I do that. See, I don't know anything about export. I make it do all my research. I check it. I don't have to visit 10 sites. It does the work for me. So that's how it is.
Great,
Thank you,
Rama. It was a
Nirban.
wonderful discussion. Like, thank you. The insights that you gave is really very good and is very relevant in today's date because technology is coming, but it is not after our life. It is definitely whatever you say, technology, AI, make your best friend and then you can just win it. I really liked it. And for young, aspiring content writers, this is the video you have to watch it because I know Rama, we are from a long timer, almost dinosaurs in this industry now, but we have survived. You will also survive. So there is nothing to worry about it. So great, Rama. And if somebody is want to work with Rama, so I will give her LinkedIn description and all that on my description and comment box. So please reach out to her. Definitely, I can vouch for her. I know, like I have worked with her. She's going to be the best for you. So nice, Rama. Thank you so much. Thanks for your insights today on content marketing and how it is getting evolved in Gen AI today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me over. I enjoyed our conversation a lot.
Thanks.
And I hope people find it useful.
Absolutely. Bye, Rama. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.